In the last video, we took a look at a very useful tool known as the Select tool, which helps to manipulate metadata as well as giving us the ability to pick and choose which columns are fed through to the next stage of the workflow. In this video, I would like to introduce you to the Autofill tool, which is a great tool to help with optimizing the metadata. Now, when you include the Autofill tool into a workflow, it automatically sets the string field's data types to the smallest type that will be accommodated, as well as set each string field to the smallest possible size based on the dataset that is fed into the Autofill tool. Now, this is great as it ensures that the tool remains as efficient as possible from a data handling perspective and keeps the workflows operating as fast as possible. So let's see it in action. What I will do is move the Select tool and the Final Browse tool to the right a bit, and then I will slot in an Autofill tool in the middle by dragging the tool from the Preparation tool palette in between the Data Cleanse and the Select tool. Alteryx will automatically connect the input anchor to the previous tool's output anchor, and it will also do the same for the output anchor to the next tool's input anchor. Now, in terms of configuration, there is very little to do. In fact, you just have to select the string columns that you want the auto change of field type to occur on. In this example, we will leave all of our string fields selected. When we run the workflow and then select the metadata that relates to the input anchor of the autofill tool, i.e. the data that was passed in from the final data cleanse tool, you can see that all of our fields are string data types, apart from our salary column. And when we look at the size of each string field, we have fields that contain 6 characters, some are set to store 9, and the comment field accommodates 31 characters. Now, if we select the output anchor of the autofill tool, you can see that the data type for the cost column has changed to be byte with the size of 1, and a few of our string fields have reduced in size as the values that are stored in them do not need to contain as many characters. In other words, Alteryx identifies the longest string length and ensures the size of the field is set to this value and no more. So for example, the leading trailing column goes from 9 to 5 and the code column goes from 9 to 3. Now, this may all seem relatively small in terms of impact, but when you're dealing with large datasets, it's best practice to ensure you optimize the dataset where possible to ensure the performance is as good as it can be. Now, in the Select tool, we actually manually changed the data type to be an int16, but Alteryx is telling us that the field, which it recognizes as a numeric field, only contains single-digit numbers, so it has reassigned it to be a byte data type. Therefore, we can change this so that we're not subsequently overriding this back to an int16 data type. When we now run the workflow, the Select tool is simply changing column names and then deselecting the punctuation and comment columns from the next stage of the workflow. And if we go back to the cost column and analyze the profile, we can see that we have the same statistical analysis of the field feeding through, despite the data type changing to a byte data type. So inputting an autofill tool is great to help switch data types to a type which the values accommodate, as well as reducing the size of each field to a smaller size, which can help produce efficiencies in your flow, especially when working with larger data sets. Just be careful that the autofill tool doesn't change a data type to something else, when in actual fact you want it to be a string data type all along.